Hi, my name is Nabila Hanim.
Hi, my name is Irina Patricia.
Hi everyone, my name is Muhammad Iswadi.
Hi, my name is Nur Danila Dania Akisha.
Hi, my name is Abdul Hanan.
Hi, my name is Sharifa Aisha Nazara.
Now I'm going to explain to you the comparison of plot in both short story and also the short film. So to make this story analysis more clear and more engaging, I'll be using free text triangle so that you guys can see how the flow of the plot. So, in the short story, the plot begins with the death of Miss Emily Grayson. The narrator immediately tells us that the entire town attends her funeral not out of affection, but out of curiosity. Emily is described as a tradition and a duty, someone the town feels obligated to watch. Her old decaying house symbolizes her resistance to change and her attachment to the past. And then, in the short film, this same introduction is shown visually. The film opens with scenes of Emily's funeral, the silent house, and the townspeople observing her from distance. Instead of explaining her importance through narration, the film uses setting, silence, and camera shots to show that Emily is isolated and she is mysterious. In the short story, the rising action is built through several unsettling events. After her father's death, Emily refuses to accept that he is dead and keeps his body for 3 days. This shows her deep fear of being alone and her inability to let go of the past. Later, the town notices a foul smell coming from her house, but instead of confronting her, the townspeople secretly sprinkle lime around her home at night. Emily also refuses to pay her taxes, showing her continued resistance of authority and change. However, in the short film, these moments are more emotionally visible. We see Emily physically clinging to her father's body, making her grief and instability more disturbing. The smell is suggested through the reactions of the townspeople rather than narration. These visual cues make the tension feel more immediate. The rising continues in both versions when Emily begins a relationship with Homer Baron. The town starts to gossip and people expect marriage. However, tension increases shortly when Emily goes to the drugstore and buys arsenic. In the short story, this moment is written in a calm and controlled tone, which makes it unsettling. In the short film, the same scene is filled with silence, close-up shots, and uncomfortable pauses, clearly foreshadowing something sinister. The climax occurs when Homer Baron enters Emily's house one evening and is never being seen again. In the short story, this moment is mentioned briefly, almost casually, through the narrator's voice. This detached way of presenting such an important event makes it even more disturbing because it suggests that violence has become quietly accepted. While in the short film, this climax is shown visually. We see Homer enters the house, the door closes behind him, and the camera lingers on that moment. There's a little to no dialogue, but the silence and pacing make it clear that this is a point of no return. This moment is the peak of tension and the turning point of the entire plot in both versions. After Homer's disappearance, both versions show Emily becoming completely withdrawn from society. In the short story, many years pass quickly through narration. Emily grows older, her hair turns iron grey, and she continues to live alone in her house. The town watches her from a distance, and life moves on around her. In the short film, the passage of time is shown visually rather than explained. We see Emily aging, her movements slowing, her house becoming darker and more decayed. The servant also grows older, reinforcing that the idea that time is passing while Emily remains emotionally frozen. The tension during this stage slowly decreases, but the audience still senses that something unresolved remains hidden inside the house. The resolution takes place after Emily's death. In both the short story and the short film, the townspeople break open a lock from room upstairs that no one has entered for years. Inside, they discover Homer Barron's corpse lying on the bed. On the pillow bed beside him is a strand of Emily's iron grey hair, revealing that Emily had been sleeping next to his dead body for decades. In the short story, this revelation is delivered through a detailed description, allowing the reader to slowly understand the horror of the situation. In the short film, the same discovery is shown through the slow camera movement, close-up shots, and silence, making the moment visually shocking and emotionally disturbing. The final revelation explains the bad smell, the arsenic, and Emily's long isolation.
Now I'm going to break down the theme for A Rose for Emily, short story and also short films. The main theme is refusing to change. Emily Grierson lives in the past. While the town grows and modernizes, she stays the same. She won't pay taxes, she won't let go of her father, and she won't accept that people or time move on. The film shows through her old house, dark rooms, and slow pace. Another big theme is isolation and loneliness. Emily is alone most of her life. Her father controls her, and after he dies, she shuts herself off from the town. Even when she's with Homer Barron, it's clear that she is afraid of being abandoned. The film shows this with silence, empty spaces, and very little interaction between Emily and people around her. Emily almost has no control of her life. First, her father, then the society. So she takes control in the most extreme way by killing Homer, making sure he can never leave her. This is where love turns dark.
I want some poison.
Well, yes. Miss Emily, what kind? Now, for rats and such, I got
I
something.
want the best you have. I don't care what kind.
Well, strychnine and arsenic will kill anything up to an elephant, but what you need, I'm sure, is
Arsenic. Is that a good one?
arsenic. Well, yes, but you don't need anything quite that
I
strong.
want arsenic.
Finally, death and decay are everywhere. The past is falling apart. The past is dying, and so are the people inside it. Emily herself became a symbol of South slowly decaying. Overall, A Rose for Emily is about what happens when someone refuses to let go of the past, and how that can destroy both the person and the people around them.
Great question. So, here in this short story, we see Emily as a ghost because we only hear her through rumors in the town. So, she's more like a symbol more than a person. But in the film, we can see her true pain, her true emotions. Like when her father died, we can totally see her pain, which makes her more relatable. So for Homer Barron, on the other hand, in both short story and film, he is very charming. But in the film, you can really feel his energy. He's more talkative, he's lively, you can see more of his smile, which basically contrasts with Emily's seriousness. So in the story, he is only known as the Yankee, but in the film, you probably know why Emily would actually fall for him. So Colonel Sartorius represents the old South's control. In both versions, his kindness with the taxes actually traps Emily in the past. But in the film, you can see all of his portraits around the house, which is a constant reminder that Emily is actually trapped in the past. Definitely. The story leaves us wondering. The film lets us feel her isolation, her desperation, and we don't just judge her, we understand why she became who she is.
And today I will be talking about the atmosphere, tone, and mood for the short story A Rose for Emily. Okay, so from the very beginning, the short story A Rose for Emily creates a very heavy and unsettling feeling. The story does not rush to explain events, but instead, it relies on atmosphere to communicate meaning. The town feels watchful, the house appears frozen in time, and Emily herself seems caught between the past and the present. Although everything looks proper on the surface, there is a strong sense of decay underneath. The tone of the story remains calm, serious, and controlled, even when disturbing details are revealed. This restrained tone makes the event feels more unsettling because the story never becomes emotional or dramatic. Instead, it presents events in a composed way, allowing tension to build slowly. As a result, the mood experienced by the reader is both melancholic and uncomfortable. The readers feel sympathy for Emily, but also a growing sense of unease. By the end of the story, the final revelation is shocking not because of the chaos, but because of how quietly and carefully the story has prepared the reader for it. This, in which, leave a very lasting and unsettling impression towards the reader.
When A Rose for Emily moves from page to screen, the story technically stays the same, from Emily to the father dying to Homer, and then the house, the ending. But the feeling of the story, that one changes a lot. So in this part, I'll focus on 3 major changes the film makes and how those changes affect how we see Emily and the story as a whole. So let's start with the timeline. In the short story, Faulkner starts the story with Emily's death, and then the story sort of jumps around from her father's death to the smell to Homer Barron, and then finally back to her funeral. And as readers, we're kind of lost, and that is intentional. We are forced to reconstruct events, which ends up making us feel the suspense and the confusion. Whereas for the film, it starts from the very beginning. We could see young Emily, and then we see how her father died, and then finally Homer appears. So everything flows normally and following a more chronological order. So the short story makes us work to understand, whereas the film makes it easy for us to follow, which ends up making it feels a lot safer compared to the story, which is more unsettling. The next big change is Emily herself. In the short story, Emily feels distant and cold. We don't know what she feels. She almost feels more like a thing than a person. Whereas in the film, we see Emily. We see more of her emotions. We can see her smiling with Homer. We can see her looking unsure, looking clearly lonely. So in the short story, Emily represents the Old South, refusing to